really less about infrastructure for me. I think it was really more about alignment. How do we design systems that support the mission, right? The mission, how do they empower staff, and how do we make the member interactions more seamless, right? So how do we get more delivery to our members, to our staff faster, right? And that was something we brought over here, that I brought over as a project management skill set. And also and this is really on the profit side of things, that my mentality still to this day is ROI, payback period. So I brought that here more into the project side of things, into tech side of things. Even though there's a dollar investment in a large solution, what's the benefit payback period? Maybe it's a little bit fuzzier, of course. Maybe it's more membership, maybe it's more engagement, but that mentality of we're spending a lot of money and what's the benefit of that? And then how do we quantify that, right? So those are the really big pieces that I thought were valuable bringing from, back in the day in my other careers. I would talk about the engagement metrics, and lifetime value, renewal rates.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen much that I've seen, but how do you get a lifetime value for a member, right? In other places, it's an acquisition value or a lifetime acquisition value of a customer, right? What's the lifetime customer value? What's the lifetime membership value? And what do you get from a member dollar-wise? We've done that on the back of the napkin math here. Of course, no one's formally asked for that, right? But it's more about when you're talking about spending six figures for a web platform, or the ongoing costs operating of some of these platforms, what's the benefit internally as well, right? Where's there an efficiency play? My background is a lot of ERPs, and it's not the same as an AMS, but I would value to say that it's a lot more complicated on the ERP side than an AMS. But it's like there you have things like headcount, right? How much efficiency do you get by offering a system, and how much internally? And I think the way that I've seen it here is really what's the value to the member, and how long does a member stay around, or how can you engage a member to stick around longer after a certain period of time, where it's that golden time, you have them for a certain amount of time and then they're going to stick around forever, right? It kind of comes from like a scientific approach, right? You have something that might be legacy, that may be difficult to work with, and you have options, right? And having the flashbacks to my ERP days and re-implementing them, that's probably the biggest path and most painful path to take, is to just say, let's start with something else. Well, if it's working for some parts of it, how do you get to a place where you can leverage other technology that's much more state of the art or updated with larger scale services to be able to do that, right? And so with our AMS, we were able to build out a data ecosystem outside of the AMS. And we were able to have a standalone which connected back to the AMS as needed. And really that just gave us the ability to be flexible. And once you can, we've used the word, or the phrase is decoupling, right? We've decoupled from our AMS to a place where we could manage membership externally of the AMS. Offline mode, we can have membership happen when the system goes down, when the AMS goes down, we don't blink an eye. We don't bat an eye. We're sitting there and it's working, and the members don't feel as if anything has gone wrong. And that was really the goal, right? Because we were experiencing those kind of bottlenecks and poor experiences with the processing of things. So we said, how do we make this offline efficient, where the member would never know if there's a fire happening at the AMS? We like to challenge technology
Yes,
anywhere we go. If there's a tagline for MDRT, which I love and I adore, it'd be that we're doing things that are fairly cutting edge in technology, and a lot of places that we're dealing with can't actually handle it by stock, right? So we do some fun things, right? And we've been doing this for a couple of years now, where simultaneous interpretation. We have a lot of international members, and we like to accommodate their languages in some of these big English sessions. I'm a little bit on the geeked out side, so I have my own servers, and I run OLAMA locally on my computers, like my non-work computers, to really play with that a lot. But from a work perspective, I'm all about Copilot, leveraging that with our platforms. We're all Microsoft shop, and so I use that a lot, really to expand on what I'm doing, right? And I think it's a great place to automate. I'm a Power Apps guy, so I use a lot of Power Apps stuff. I mean, I'm a Microsoft guy, and I probably have a tattoo somewhere that I don't know, but it's like it's all Microsoft for me. But I've been using Power Apps to automate things across the board, and to just do these small, tedious little things. in a scalable way. It just makes my life so much easier. I think it's really fun to explore technology when you have the freedom and the support from leadership. And in a closed environment, you get folks together, and it's a trusted environment to say, let's get together, let's play with AI, right? AI is a good example, but Power Apps is another one. Hey, go off and try this. And if you need support, let us know. We can get you some development involved, but like try playing with it and see what we get out of it. That's how this membership benefits booth app that we have came about. We have people at the meetings that essentially go through a form that feeds information into our back end, and we can then market to them accordingly what they chose of their options, right? And it gives us an ability to capture interest and personalize to them, right? And that's just that part of that engagement piece. We talk about the ROI of something. How much did it cost to build a Power App? Not very much. It's just about time. But the benefit to the members that have engaged with that, they are now getting much more personalized content, right? And these kind of things come up as an experiment with folks, and you have to give them an environment that's trusted and safe to be able to say, this is cool, this is not cool, it works, doesn't work, and just keep going from that point, right? We can see in the engagement metrics, people are engaging more with content that's more personalized, right? We get these real-time reports from our websites. If I'm personalizing to you, we're seeing that. We're seeing more and more engagement. And I think it's so automatic for everyone now, especially with the Googles and, with Apple and everything they know about you and everything you're getting, it's automatically, this is just relevant to me, right? The ads you see, the remarketing you get across all these different media, like social platforms, we're just extending that over to our website.
Right.
And then as an extension to the physical space, right? What are we doing in the meetings that are personalizing to you, right? And if you've shown interest in these things, are we accommodating enough people at the meetings with those kinds of sessions, right? That's the stuff we're moving into right now, is how many people are interested in certain topics from a web engagement perspective, and are we accommodating them when they come to the meetings to be more, to double down on that? And I think we're seeing a lot of folks love it because we're seeing the engagement metrics go up. I think that was a big piece of our play, Ben, was how do we understand you enough to be able to cater to you, not just from a content perspective, but really just to guide you down the right path. Where are you at in your journey journey is an overused word, of course, but where are you at as a member of MDRT, but also in your path of career, your career choosing, where are you at? And are you in earlier, are you later? And how do we know that? Do we know that? And can we gear you towards the right resources, right? So that's always, it's always like a box. It's like a hypothesis that we don't always know the answers to, but the more information we have now, especially with the way we've consolidated data and we've done it in a data warehousing system, we have a lot more information that we can help really personalized to the members. But we say, let's do a feasibility study. And that shifts the mindset of this is the end result. This is more of a, does this work? Will it work? Right. And we positioned ourselves to do a lot of feasibility studies because it is a safety net, right? You can sit there and go, all I'm trying to figure out by this 2 to 6 week sprint or series of sprints is to say, does this even work? And then you can come back. So I think that was really cool to see how we got to a place where we decided like 7 to 10 things that are very valuable, like personalization piece on the web, driving people to a more efficient login process, having a simpler membership application, and getting these things created were really just to drive value for the members and ultimately just have retention.
I'm ready.